Hi and welcome to Grade Gov News. My name is Elizabeth Letchworth, and I was lucky and blessed enough to be the only woman to date to be elected in the United States Senate to serve as the Secretary for the Majority for the Republicans. So if you guessed it, these videos, they're going to be all about Congress. Before we talk about the select committee process that goes on in Congress, I thought I'd create just a real quick scenario for you. What if in your hometown, or maybe my hometown, 4 Americans were killed? They were gunned down at a fast food restaurant. And that happened 20 months ago, and nobody had been arrested. Nobody had even been detained. 20 months ago, 4 Americans were killed in your hometown or my hometown, and nobody had been arrested. Would you be okay with that? I don't think so. Of course, you know where I'm going with this. I'm re-establishing sort of the Bengahzi scenario. And of course, it happened in the consulate in Benghazi. Shouldn't Congress want to get to the bottom of this? It's been 20 months and no arrest. It's been 20 months and no one's really been detained. Is it okay with you that Congress appears to be okay with doing nothing? Because here's the scenario that should have taken place. Here's the scenario that did take place going back to 1986. I'm going to tell you about the Iran-Contra Select Committee process in Congress. In November of 1986, a Lebanese newspaper reported that the Reagan administration was purportedly selling arms, selling guns to Iran. Within 3 weeks of that report, the Republican president, who was being accused, his administration was being accused of this, Ronald Reagan appointed an independent commission known as the Tower Commission, headed up by former Senator John Tower, was a Republican, and former Senator Ed Muskie, who was a Democrat. The Tower Commission was created to investigate, and it was created on November 26th of 1986, within 3 weeks of the first report of the Iran-Contra affair. Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States at the time, instructed his Attorney General, Ed Meese, to create an independent counsel. He did this December 19th of 1986. And by January of 1987, the House of Representatives and the Senate of the United States, they had both created select committees to study the Iran-Contra affair. Those 2 committees acted jointly, and they culled through over 300,000 documents together trying to get to the bottom of it. Because you know what? The Iran-Contra affair, it wasn't okay with members of Congress. That select committee on Iran-Contra back in 1986, they interviewed over 500 witnesses because the Iran-Contra affair was not okay with members of Congress back then. And they held over 40 joint hearings between the House and the Senate because the Iran-Contra affair wasn't okay with members of Congress back then. Now let's go to Benghazi. The Accountability Review Board was launched by law. It was mandated by law for them to study what happened in Benghazi. Within 90 days, they reported 29 recommendations on how to make sure this wouldn't happen again. Was there an independent counsel appointed? No. Barack Obama has not appointed an independent counsel. Is that okay with you? Was there an independent commission like the Tower Commission appointed to study Benghazi, the death of 4 Americans? After 20 months, no one's been brought to justice. No. Is that okay with you? Did the Republican leader, the minority leader in the House of Representatives, back in the day, back in 1986, did he oppose and come out with inflammatory statements about the Tower Commission, about the select committees, about the independent counsel? The Republican leader in the Senate was Senator Bob Dole, the Republican from Kansas. He did not. The Republican leader in the House of Representatives was Bob Michael. He did not. Here's what the Democratic majority leader in the Senate said about Speaker Boehner announcing that he will begin a select committee process to study Benghazi. It's been 20 months. This is what the Senate majority leader said. This is a, quote, staging a partisan political circus. Is that okay with you? Is it okay with you that after 20 months, the deaths of 4 Americans and nobody has been brought to justice? Is it okay with you that the Democrats in Congress seem to be okay with that? Listen to this and more on Congress College, which is a radio show. It airs twice weekly on Blog Talk Radio. We air it twice weekly on Monday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. You can catch all the shows archived on gradegov.com on the homepage under the radio tab. So in the meantime, think about it. Is 20 months and the death of 4 Americans and nobody brought to justice, is that okay with you? And should it be okay with the Democrats in Congress? Thanks again. God bless.